Good morning. I want to thank PIC5K for giving me this opportunity. I will talk about mental health and fitness during pandemic and beyond, and about fear, loneliness, emotional intelligence, wisdom, and optimism. WHO defines mental health as a state of well-being in which an individual realizes one's abilities, can cope with stress of life, can work productively, and able to contribute to the community. What is the state of mental health in America now? More than 50% of the population suffer from mental health problems sometime in their lifetime. About 1 in 5, 20% Americans suffer mental health problems each year. 1 in 5, again, 20% of the children currently or sometime have serious mental illness. 1 in 25 Americans during their lifetime have serious mental illness such as schizophrenia, bipolar, or major depression. What are the 10 top tips for good mental health to avoid being a number in these statistics? Talk to someone, think positive, spend time with supportive family and friends, spend time outside in the nature, get enough sleep, eat well, and drink a lot of water and not just beer. Ask for help, limit your screen time, and be physically active as well as believing in yourself. Stress during this mental health during this pandemic. Stress is something that overwhelms our capacity to cope and function. And stress can trigger a sympathetic reaction of fight or flight response. This can have three outcomes. One is you succumb to the stress, or you recover from the stress, or you grow from the stress. What is the post-trauma growth means? Post-trauma growth is characterized by greater appreciation of life, closer relationships, identification of new possibilities, increased personal growth, positive spiritual change. For example, myself, I became a good dishwasher, I have a better relation with my wife, and I appreciate her cooking. Origin of the fear. Fear exists for a reason. It gives us survival advantage. If you recognize the threat, we survive from the threat. Our ancestors lived in precarious situations and conditions, so they have to have a very acute sense of threat perception and reaction. By the process of natural selection, we inherit the same genetic feature, which now is a bug for the modern human because we don't live in the similar threatening, life-threatening, constant life-threatening situations. So what are a few mechanisms that continue to perpetuate this fear? One is generalization. When it comes to danger, it's better to generalize so you quickly react and efficiently react and avoid the danger. For example, if you see a snake, you just avoid them or attack them instead of studying whether they're venomous or non-venomous. Similarly, confirmation bias is another shortcut which is comforting and fast because to gather information from many sources takes a lot of time and a lot of effort. But if you listen to the same information that corroborates you, it's much more faster and comforting. And another psychological mechanism we use is conflating cause and effect. This gives us a kind of illusion of control over danger. For example, in this example, a person is throwing pieces of paper out of the window of a city bus, and when asked what he was doing, he says he's keeping the elephants away. So he's conflating his behavior to the effect of keeping the elephants out of the streets. And next, social isolation. What is the impact of social isolation? 2019 World Health Organization declared it a pandemic, and there are more than 50% of the population in cities live alone, and so much so UK and Japan appointed Minister of Loneliness recently. Again, 45% increased risk of mortality, equal to smoking 15 cigarettes a day and being obese, the risk of being alone. Why is it so? Social embeddedness is crucial for our survival, whether you're infant or elderly. And when you don't have that social embeddedness, your brain doesn't function well, your physical resiliency is not there, same as mental resiliency is not there. A quantitative analysis of 400,000 married couples from American Medicare database showed that after the death of a spouse, men had an increased rate of dying in immediate future by 18%, and for women it is 16%. Loneliness also affects immune system. This study showed freshman students who are lonely have a poorer immune response to flu vaccine. So socially integrated people have better biological biomarkers of physiological functions such as lower systolic blood pressure, lower BMI, lower C-reactive protein. Impact of social isolation is not only found in humans, it's found in other primates. For example, in wild baboons that were studied, well-connected females experience less harassment by other monkeys, lower cortisol hormone levels, faster wound healing, produce more offspring. And this was also found in other species like chimpanzees and dolphins. Human interaction produces endorphins and oxytocin, which gives a sense of well-being and connectedness. So data from Framingham study showed the other aspect of social contagion. Somebody being happy, depressed, or obese are similar to what if you have a close friend who have same features. And even more intriguing is geographical contagion. If you have a happy friend who lives within a radius of mile, you're 25% more likely to be happy. And if it's a neighbor, you're 34% more likely to be happy. This slide shows the same thing. This study was published in BMJ, British Medical Journal. The blue groups and the white groups represent less happy and more happy people. And you can see they're in similar, they're in clusters, living together in clusters. And social isolation and suicide. Close to 800,000 people commit suicide every year across the globe. Every 40 seconds, somebody is committing suicide. So connectedness does matter because suicide ideation doesn't translate into suicidal action if you're being connected to some other person. Especially in the age group of 15 to 29, it's the second leading cause of death. Let's talk about emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is the ability to recognize your emotions and emotions in others, and the ability to use this awareness to manage your behaviors as well as the relationship in a mutually beneficial way. There are two domains, personal competence and social competence. Personal competence includes social awareness and self-management, and social competence includes social awareness and relationship management. All of this all put together is emotional intelligence. Emotionally intelligent people are more accepting of self and others, communicate effectively and assertively, and have better empathy as opposed to low emotional intelligence people. Why is it so important? For your success in any job, emotional intelligence contributes to 66% of your success, and for leadership, it contributes about 85% of your success. Gratitude is another positive trait we should develop because it gives you increased life satisfaction and health as well. The cognitive framework of explanation, positive attentional bias, positive interpretation bias, and positive memory bias improves your physical health and psychological well-being. Same way, psychosocial framework, it broadens your mind, you reciprocate your benefactor with similar behaviors in your capacity, and it improves your relationship, increase your social capital, and gives you a sense of well-being. Wisdom versus knowledge. We live in a society driven by data, information, and knowledge, but we need to transcend beyond that to wisdom. Otherwise, we are in a dangerous situation. Western society, not the geographical Western society, we're all westernized. We all believe science and technology will solve all the problems. But the evolution of knowledge has caused involution of wisdom. Robert Sternberg in his book said, without wisdom, there won't be a world to live in. And increased electronic media use doesn't favor wisdom. It favors fast and shallow thinking over slow, deep reflection and reasoning, not only at an individual but organizational and societal level. It's a very perilous situation, and we need to do something about it to improve our wisdom as a society. South Asians have faced a lot of mental health challenges, especially because stigma is a significant factor that deters people from seeking help. Besides that, there's a lot of stress related to communication, acculturation, immigration, discrimination, as well as intergenerational stress. Study found that these factors cause a lot of depression, anxiety, and substance abuse in South Asians. There's outright discrimination, there's microaggression that attack your sense of identity and sense of feeling safe and belonging. So that leads to physical and psychological ailments. And once you recognize you have an ailment, it's not so easy to get help because there is the traditional models of psychotherapy more suited for Western white middle class person than immigrants. And I don't want to leave it on a negative thought here, so I just want to focus on optimism. Optimism is a positive trait again. It gives you a better quality of life. What is the difference between a pessimist and optimist? I quickly, briefly go through how they differentiate. A pessimist thinks everything is permanent, all problems are permanent, whereas the optimist thinks problems are temporary and changeable. A pessimist thinks problems are pervasive, problems are everywhere, whereas an optimist thinks problems are circumscribed or compartmentalized. A pessimist thinks everything is personal failure, whereas an optimist attributes the problems to circumstances than his own failings. So an optimist has a hopeful attitude with a positive expectation, positive action orientation, and positive outcomes. So look at this cartoon, only one cartoon I have in the whole talk. The optimist thinks he's graduating, he has no more tests to take. And the pessimist thinks he graduated, now he has to pay the student loans. So live a great dream, do things for others, connect with people, take care of your body, live life mindfully, keep learning new things, have goals to look forward to, find ways to bounce back, look for what's good, be comfortable with who you are, be part of something big, live a great dream. Again, thank you so much, PIC5K, for giving me this opportunity.